Thank you, Chief, and thank you to the City of Sanford for this beautiful event, for this beautiful venue. And it would be remiss of me not to say that I truly do believe that I don't deserve to be up here with the folks that serve in uniform. So it is with my awe and my perpetual gratitude that I read the following proclamation in honor of those that serve and have served. This is a proclamation of the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners, proclaiming September 11th, 2021 as Patriot Day in Seminole County, Florida. Whereas the citizens of Seminole County will join with our fellow Americans in honoring and remembering those who lost their lives 20 years ago in the most egregious attack in our country's history. And whereas in 102 minutes, nearly 3,000 innocent men, women, and children perished, including 265 passengers on 4 hijacked airplanes, 2,606 individuals in the World Trade Center and surrounding area, and 125 people in the attack on the Pentagon. And whereas we commend the firefighters, police, and first responders who courageously risked their lives to rescue those in need, including 343 firefighters, 23 police officers, and 37 Port Authority officers who perished. And whereas, in the spirit that moved rescue workers and firefighters to charge into the darkness that September morning, we remember the victims, their families, and the heroes who stood up during one of our country's darkest moments. And whereas on September 4th, 2002, President George W. Bush inaugurated the observance of Patriot Day, ensuring that the September 11 terrorist attacks remain into the consciousness of American people. And whereas 20 years later, we continue our collective promise never to forget and commit to educate a new generation so that they may learn the lesson of 9/11. And whereas we mark the anniversary of September 11, 2001, we remember what remains the same in our character as a nation, our faith in one another, and our legacy as a country strengthened by service and selflessness. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners does hereby recognize September 11, 2021 as Patriot Day in Seminole County. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners called upon all of our county residents to observe Patriot Day with a moment of silence this morning at 8:46 a.m. on September 11, 2021. This was adopted the 24th day of August 2021 and signed by our board chairman. Thank you.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This thing looks dangerous. Obviously, you didn't quite expect when they said a New York City sergeant that I would need to stand on a stool. I'm all 4'11", but I assure you my heart is bigger than all that. It's been 20 years. Kind of hard to believe. And yet, if I ask any one of you out there, where were you that day, and how did you find out, you would remember. You would remember, and you would tell me the story as if it was just now. Most of you have never met someone who was there the day of, and was there for the buildings coming down. So I intend to tell you what happened that day and the days to come in a very realistic way, but somewhat sanitized. If by chance I cause any of you any kind of discomfort, please feel free to step away. My intent is not to hurt you. As I left for work that morning at 5:30, my mother, who was visiting me from Puerto Rico, gave me a hug and a kiss and her blessing, and that is the custom in many Latino homes. And on my drive in, I couldn't help but notice what a beautiful, cloudless blue sky. It was a blue like something I had never seen in my life. Back then in 2001, I worked at police headquarters downtown, just about 5 blocks away from the center. Signed in at 6 o'clock, and by 8:30 I was in the basement of St. Andrew's Church. It's an old Catholic church directly in front of police headquarters. Beautiful building made of solid stone. And at 8:45, 8:46 or so, we heard this huge boom that echoed. And it was like rolling thunder. Shook the church. The men and women that were with me and I got up out of our seats. And in the meantime, we could start hearing sirens coming from all over the place. Every direction, police sirens followed by fire sirens, followed by ambulance sirens. And as we all know, when you hear sirens, they kind of, you hear at a distance and they kind of fade in. They become loud, and then they get quiet again. Not that day. Not that day. Ladies and gentlemen, a moment of silence, please. I believe this is the time the first tower came down. As I was saying, that day the sirens just faded in and stayed loud, something that we were not used to. When my officers and I ran outside, it was very easy and very quick to see that something had struck one of the towers. We didn't know it was an airplane, we didn't know it was a helicopter, but all we knew was that, oh my God, buildings are on fire. The building is on fire. Plane, having been an accident, just went right out of my head, and I had to wrap my mind around the word terrorism for the first time. There was really no time to think it out. So you did what you had to do. There was no time for politics or for thinking about foreign policy. It was just time to act. Myself and 2 other women from my division left the building together. One a very young cop, the other one the mother of 2 very small children. We headed straight for the center. And on our way, we couldn't help but notice the contrast between that beautiful blue sky and those 2 towers on fire with all that smoke pouring out and all that debris that was raining. True New Yorkers, police officers in the NYPD are not prone to signs of affection in public. But on that day, we all sensed an evil in the air. And as we passed co-workers or caught up to workers who were on the way to the towers too, our co-workers stopped. We'd hug each other. We'd say, stay safe. Be careful. See you on the other side. That's code for we'll have a beer about this later on. We passed all kinds of emergency vehicle on the streets. Doors opens, the lights are still on, the sirens are still blaring. It was all a clear reminder of the urgency that the drivers and the crews of those vehicles felt. They knew that they had to get to the business of saving lives. We were witness to EMTs just doing all of they possibly could to help people who were injured in the street. Running along with us were firemen in full gear. Probably the bravest thing I had seen. That's how far they were parking and running, like I said, in full gear. Also, there was court officers, and there was the FBI in their cute little windbreakers. If there's any agents in the room, please do not see me after this. But we were also witness to these incredible, incredible acts of kindness. Scared as they were, and it was like clear on their faces. We saw civilians helping civilians, tending to each other's injuries, carrying those who couldn't walk or were too hysterical to just keep moving. And they helped each other. There was a unity there like I've never seen. At one point, we asked two women who were helping a man who had obviously injured his ankles. We'll take it from here. And they're like, no, we've got him. There's more back there. Go help them. And that is a selflessness that I just, like I said, haven't seen in years. I took all of what I was observing in, but I didn't have time to dwell on it because I got distracted by that airplane engine over there or that airplane seat over there, and you couldn't help but wonder what happened to that passenger. But again, it wasn't time to really mull it over. And then there was the matter of the debris that wasn't debris. We're trained in all kinds of rescue. We're trained in all kinds of equipment. But on that day, we were helpless. You see, you couldn't stop what was happening from happening. We stood there and we watched as people who we were sworn to protect and serve made the final decision of their lives. And the last impact that we'll ever have was made on our psyches. Truthfully, it was hypnotizing. You froze, you watched in disbelief. And it etched itself into our minds, both visually and audibly. Then the impossible happened, and people are hurt. But the officers that I was with that day in the basement of that church were there for a support group meeting. These were officers who had been injured, officers who had been hurt somehow on the job, and I didn't see any reason, as big as the NYPD was at the time, 38,000 people, sworn individuals, why they had to be a part of this. So I ordered them back to command, and in the days to come, I found out that, well, almost all of them, except for one, headed straight to the towers. And before you think that that's insubordination, I want you to understand that that is the spirit of a first responder, to preserve life. They weren't disobeying me. They were following their oath. And that one officer that didn't go, that one officer had been the victim of a bombing in her own home just 3 months prior, and her own co-workers that day walked her to her car and made her leave. Returned to my office, I put on my uniform, and as I did so, the second plane hit. Any thoughts of the first